Hey guys, it's Kylie here. For this video, I wanted to show you guys my tops gallery and museum. I really recommended these to you guys, so let's check it out. Uh, what you have seen people yawning before? This man built a plane for his family in his garden. That sounds cool. I'm not gonna lie, that sounds cool as hell. Okay, so James Harper, British Minister of State for the Armed Forces and Veterans, said the government is currently looking to change the law to punish military pilots who pass on their expertise to the Chinese army. We're going to put into law that once people have been giving that warning, it will become an offense to go forward and continue with that training. Happy told Sky News, China is a competitor that is threatening the UK interests in many places around the world. Happy acknowledged China's important role as a trading partner, but added that there is no secret in their attempt to gain access to our secrets, and their recruitment of our pilots in order to understand the capabilities of our air forces is clearly a concern to us and the intelligence part of the MOD. It wasn't until he moved near to an airfield in the UK over a decade ago that mm, mechanical engineer Ashok Alisariel began to seriously consider learning to fly a plane. He got his first taste of flying a few years later when his wife bought him a 30-minute flight experience for his birthday. Um, Elisariel, who is based in English County, Essex, booked in some flying lesson at a local airfield and flew to the Isles of Wight, an island of the south coast of England during his first sessions. That was that was quite an eye opener into how it gives you the freedom to just go places if you have that ability and access to an aircraft. So that really got me hooked. He got his first private pilot. He got his first. He got his first private pilot license in 2019, and soon began hiring planes for short flights. Also, he got money. He got some money to hire plane for short flights. Money. But as his family grew, he and his wife now have two daughters. The two-seater planes typically available for private hire became even less suitable, and he began to mull over the idea of buying his own plane. Hi everyone, my name is Lily and welcome to Take Care of Your Pets 101. Here you get to learn corrective ways to take care of your dogs and cats. We will start with creating the right menu for your dog first. I just want to say that if you would like this type of videos, uh, please give it please give it a subscribe, and maybe if you try to watch it the whole video, that would be very I would appreciate that a lot. I would very appreciate that a lot, so thank you. Priyanka Chopra shared cruel pics with happy Nick Jonas from a wedding party. Actress looks ethereal in red gown. Priyanka Chopra and Nick Jonas recently attended a wedding party. Recently attended a wedding party, and they stole the show with their super hot avatars. A few hours ago, Priyanka and Nick both took to social media and shared a slew of pics from the party. Priyanka and Nick are one of the most gorgeous celebrity couples who often shell shell out major couple goals. They have a huge fan following on social media, and the duo keeps their fans updated by sharing sneak peeks from their daily lives. Their hot and romantic pics Frequently go viral. Priyanka and Nick attended Connie Chang and Jesse M. Powell's wedding. Taking to Instagram, Priyanka wrote, "To witness the beautiful union of two wonderful people always gets me. Connie and Jesse, your love is so beautiful. May you always have joy and happiness in your life. Thank you for inviting us to be part of it." Also, Tiluhu and Kevin Nath James, damn, I miss y'all. Fans and celebrities shows their love with comments and compliments soon after the diva dropped the pics on social media. Priyanka looked drop dead gorgeous in a red bodycon dress, while Nick looked hot in a gray tuxedos. As they took a selfie, Priyanka could be seen holding Nick's hand. Priyanka went around posing with numerous friends and taking selfies. Furthermore, the actor took a close-up selfie in front of the mirror in the bathroom. Taking to Instagram, Nick wrote, "Congrats to Connie and Jess on a beautiful wedding. Thank you for letting us be a part of your day." He posted two pics with Priyanka and one with the bride, groom, and PC. Speaking of Priyanka professional front, she last appeared in the Matrix Restor- Restor- Restorations. She has a couple of projects in the pipeline. She'll be next seen in It's All Coming Back to Me, Ending Things. She has a Farham Bollywood film, and alongside Alia Bhatt and Katrina Kaif. BTS Jin leaves army speechless as he visits flea market in expensive shearling jacket costing 5.19 lakh. Mr. Worldwide Handsome never misses. It doesn't matter where he's going, Jin always look his best. Be it a formal gathering or a casual meetup, the members' fashion will surely be on point. While that is true for all occasions, the global star has his choice style even when he is visiting a flea market. The singer will manage to turn even a place like that into his personal runway. For those who may not know, Seokjin was recently spotted at the Ganghwa flea market with chef Big Jong Won. Pics of them posing with the vendors there went viral on social media. These two were seen trying to shop for various items. The attention was on the fact that there were cameras around them. Now, cameras can only mean one thing. We have another very show appearance on the way. Army was quick to point out that this can be for Jongwon's YouTube series, Go to Market, in which he introduced markets all over the country and he's got the idol as the next guest. In the pics, Jean can be seen sporting a denim fur jacket over a half turtleneck shirt and blue trousers to complete his look. We have to say his style was quite the standout here. Take a look at the photo. Fans will remember seeing the BTS member in this jacket before, but if you are intrigued by it and would like to have it in your wardrobe as well, let us warn you, it will not come easy. That is a shearling line oversized fit denim jacket made in Italy straight from Bottega Veneta. It cost a whooping like a lot. So yes, that is indeed the price of that jacket. It blew our minds for real, but like always, what matters is Jim pulled it off with ease. In fact, he took it up a notch. Mamamoo to soon embark on a world tour surprises fans with an announcement. Fans of the K-pop group Mamamoo are having the time of their lives. After making a comeback with a new album, the ladies are now all set for something else as well. Yes, they are still have a lot more in store for everyone. For those who don't know, the band dropped their 12th mini album titled Make On and on October 11 along with the music videos for the title track. They left everyone awestruck awestruck by showcasing a different side in the MV. The latest news is that Mamamoo will soon embark on a world tour while the speculative announcement for the same was made back in June. The confirmation comes now. Back then, it was said that the tour will happen in the later half of the year. Since we are way into October, it only makes sense that the details have been dropped now. The update was shared by none other than the members themselves. During their recent comeback showcase, the girls spoke about the album as well as their future schedule. We plan to finally meet the world 8 years after our debut, Solar added. The RBW Entertainment Group also revealed that they were planning for the tour a long time back, but COVID happened and it got postponed. They further add that since it is finally happening now, they cannot wait to be able to meet international fans as well. As for the details of the date and stops, they will be revealed in the coming days. We only got the confirmation announcement, but let us agree that even this for now will do. As much as fans eagerly await all the information, they are super excited about the tour as it was long in the process. Stay tuned for more updates. K-pop group Jidol call out an antis in teaser for Dark X-File from upcoming album I Love Watch. Jidol tackles issues in the most creative ways, be it with their lyrics or concepts. The K-pop girl group has never felt to impress netizens with their bold statements, taking a dig at haters in their latest teasers for their upcoming album. The girl group seems to have a lot to say. In case you missed out, Jidol are set to make a comeback with their fifth mini album, I Love. This marked their first comeback in almost 7 months. Following the release of their first full-length album, I Never Die, in March this year, I Never Die was the group's first comeback as the quintet following the sudden departure of former members Sojin, even so the group's popularity remained unaffected. Writing off the massive success of their previous album, the girl group seemed to be addressing rumors made during the times when they were on a hiatus and lost a member. In the latest teaser for their upcoming album, members are seen sipping drinks and reading articles about them. From tense to speculation about their future, the girl group faced massive backfl- backlash last year, showing a sense of vulner, vulnerable, vulner, vulnerability in Dark X-File. The girls weren't afraid to speak about their past. Take a look at the stunning teaser. Earlier this year, during her appearance on NBC popular reality show I Live Alone, Jidol leader So-young said she wanted the group's upcoming comeback to reflect the quote, "I'd rather be hated for being myself than be loved as someone I am not." And it seems the girl group are trying to convey So-young ideas for their upcoming release. Meanwhile, the girl group recently wrapped up a major portion of their first world tour, Just Me, Idol, kicking off on June 17 in Seoul. Jidol tour across Asia, North America, and Latin America. What is China Communist Party Congress and why does it matter? Xi Jinping is poised to cement his role as China's most powerful leader in decades this month, when members of the country's ruling Communist Party meet for twice a decade leadership reshuffle. In recent years, these meetings have seen a streamlined transfer of power. The convention is for the top party leader, having completed the two 5-year terms, to pass the baton to a carefully chosen successor. But this year, Xi is expected to smash that precedent, taking on the third term as general secretary of the party and pitching China into a new era of strongman rule and uncertainty over when or how the country would see another leader. As a result, the 20th Party Congress is almost the most consequential and closely watched party meetings in decades, and will reveal much about the direction of the world's second largest economy for the next 5 years. Here's what you need to know about the events and how China chooses its leaders. What is the Party Congress? The Chinese Communist Party National Congress, known simply as the Party Congress, is a roughly week-long conclave that meets once every 5 years to appoint new leaders, discuss changes to the party constitution, and lay out a policy agenda for the country. The Congress itself, typically held in October or November, convenes nearly 2,030 100 carefully selected Communist Party members, called delegates from around the country. These delegates range from top provincial officials and military officers to professionals across sectors and the so-called grassroots representative like farmers and industrial workers. Just over a quarter are women, while about 11% come from ethnic minorities, according to figures released ahead of this year's Congress. What's up, everyone? How are you guys today? Hope you guys doing great. And right now, we'll talk about Elon Musk with his Twitter thingy. Okay, so what happened between Elon Musk and Twitter? Did he buy it? Did he buy it? And did something happen? We don't know until now. Wait for it. Wait for it. The fate of Elon Musk's deal to buy Twitter now comes down to the money. Okay, so the countdown is now on for Elon Musk and Twitter to close their 44 billion acquisitions deal by October 28 or be forced to again prepare for a trial after a judge agreed on Thursday paused the legal proceedings. What everyone is now waiting on, Musk needs to actually have the money to hand over. Even the world's richest man needs a little help for an acquisitions of this size. In April, Musk announced he had lined up $46.5 billion dollars in financing for the deal, including two debt commitment letters from Morgan Stanley and other unnamed financial institution institution institution, one for 30 billion, 13 billion, and another for 12.5 billion dollars. The latter of which was later reduced to 6.25 billion dollars. Musk himself also committed approximately $21 billion dollars in equity to fund the deal and later raised an additional $7 billion dollars in equity from investors such as Oracle founder Larry Ellison and cryptocurrency firm Binance. Much of the sticking point between Musk and Twitter now appears to be over uncertainty around the status of those financing arrangements. Musk's team has said in a filing earlier Thursday that there was no need to press on with the litigation because he had committed to closing the deal at the originally agreed upon terms, and the banks that had committed debt financing to help him pay for it were working cooperatively to fund the close. Twitter, skeptical after Musk spent months trying to get out of the deal and also wanting to keep the pressure of a trial hanging over him, opposed to pausing the proceedings. It raised concern in a separate filing that an unnamed representative of one of the banks has testified Thursday morning that Musk had not yet sent a borrowing notice and had not otherwise communicated to them that he intends to close the transaction, let alone on any particular timeline. Twitter also said Musk should close the deal by next week. I think Musk does intend to close the deal, and I think his reason for not closing it this second are probably somewhat straightforward, said Ann Lipton, associate professor of business law at Tulane Law School. The likely reasons, she said, have to do with the time it takes for Musk to finish pulling together all the previous announced financing arrangements in order to close the deal. Musk is likely trying to help Morgan Stanley market the debt to other investors before telling them to hand him the money to close the deal. According to Lipton, while Musk isn't required to do that, it would do a favor for a bank that he's had more than a decade-long relationship with, given the economic environment is more difficult now than when the agreements were first made. Some have speculated about whether Morgan Stanley and the other banks providing debt financing could try to walk away from the deal now because Twitter is arguably even less valuable now than when the deal was first struck, after Musk spent months making claims about its flaws and following broader social media and digital advertising market declines. but the bank could face legal ramifications if it tried to back out of its commitment now. The only way the only way that they could get out of it is to claim a material adverse effect and that Twitter has changed so much since they agreed to the deal that they no longer want to finance the deal, said George Gaze, professor of strategies at the UCLA Anderson School of Management. Even if the banks try to back out, Musk may not automatically be off the hook. According to the merger agreement, Musk could in theory walk away from a deal with a $1 billion breakup payment to Twitter if his debt financing were to fall through. However, if a Delaware court were to find that Musk was at fault for the financing falling through after his months of disparaging the company, he could potentially face a court order to sue Morgan Stanley to provide the funds or close the deal without it. Debt financing aside, Musk may also still need a bit more cash to fund his equity portion of the deal, which could require him to sell off more Tesla shares, Lipton said. And he will have to wait a few days to be able to do that. Tesla is set to report quarterly earnings on October 19, and executives are typically required not to sell shares in the days prior to an earnings report. Musk also presumably has a large stake in SpaceX, but because of the company is not publicly traded, it's not clear what it would take to liquidate them on short notice. Another outrage over the botched law enforcement response to the shooting at Robb Elementary. 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 8 seconds passed from the time police entered the building May 24 until the gunman was killed, Texas Department of Public Safety Director Steve McCraw has said. A scathing report released in July by Texas House Committee investigating the mass shooting found systemic failures and poor decision making by law enforcement and the school district. And her husband Julio have made helping their 10-year-old daughters return to school a priority. The girl, Madison, was at Robb Elementary the day of the shooting. The family has enrolled Madison in a private school, which they say made safety upgrades after the shooting. I want to just shelter her as a mom and just keep her home, but of course, I don't want her to live in fear, she said. Here's what you need to know about Liz Truss, Britain's new leader. Sometime compared to the UK's first female leader, Margaret Thatcher, Truss has also been accused of being a political killman. London as a girl and a young woman, Liz Truss protests against then Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher and called for the abolition of the monarchy. Decades later, having risen through the ranks of Thatcher's Conservative Party, Truss, 47, on Tuesday was appointed to the United Kingdom Prime Minister by Queen Elizabeth II. As she headed to No. 10 Downing Street, Truss looks eager to rule in the image of the famously blunt and strong-willed iconoclast whose legacy still divides this country. Her victory means she will become the country's third female leader, after Thatcher and Theresa May. The Iron Lady, as Thatcher was known, was the 20th century longest-serving British leader and birthed an ideology, Thatcherism, that still dominates the party with its low tax, high-growth economic liberalism. Serving as primer from 1979 to 1990. When she was forced to resign by her own government, Thatcher was a strident coal warrior and a supporter of free markets, and especially close to President Ronald Reagan, one of Britain's most divisive prime minister, revile and revere in almost equal measure to this day. She's best known for her policies. She's best known for her policy on deregulation, privatizing state-owned companies, and smashing the power of unions. She died in 2013. Whether international or not, observers observers and the public have pointed out Truss appears to have a habit of recreating iconic Thatcher public appearance. While serving as Foreign Secretary, Truss was accused of consciously mirroring Thatcher by posing in a Challenger 2 tank while visiting British troops in Estonia. A famous picture of Thatcher in a Challenger tank in Germany in 1986. When visiting Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov at the Kremlin in February, she wore a fox for hat that again was compared to that worn by Thatcher on a Russia trip in 1987. During the Conservative leadership contest, Truss wore an outfit strikingly similar to one Thatcher had worn for an election broadcast in 1979, a black blazer and a white shirt with a bow tie at the front. For Truss critics, the similarities to Thatcher's are the best premature and worst ludicrous. I don't think there is anything in it. They're completely different people. Truss supporter Andrea Andino, 55, insisted outside the venue where Truss was announced the new leader of the Conservative Party on Monday. Andino wore a t-shirt in Liz with Truss. She's different. I don't think she will follow Thatcher in any way, she added. Timothy Kirkhope, a Conservative member of the upper chamber of the British Parliament, also dismissed the comparison, but for different reasons. I regard any comparison between Truss and Thatcher as derisory, he said in an email. I worked as a government whip under Margaret Thatcher. She was a colossus in politics. There is absolutely no way that Truss could ever get anywhere near the achievements of Thatcher, he said. Truss herself complained to BBC Radio 4 in July that women tend to get compared to Thatcher whether they resemble her or not. I'm on my own person, she said. James Cleverly, who served as education minister under Boris Johnson, echoes these sentiments. She's a woman in politics, though comparisons are inevitable, and he said, she is Liz Truss, she's her own person. To those of us who have studied Thatcher, she's hardly in the same league, at least on current form, said Professor Tim Bell, an expert on British politics and the Conservative Party at Queen Mary University of London. While Thatcher was regarded then and now was a conviction politician who embodied her beliefs, Truss has been accused of being a political chameleon, flip-flopping on major policies and criticized for lacking hard and fast principles. She was an activist for the centrist Liberal Democrat Party as a college student. We do not believe people are born to be ruled. She said while arguing passionately for the abolition of the monarchy at the party conference in 1994, a testament to just how far she has traveled politically. Truss campaigned for Britain to remain in the European Union, only flip side and later support Brexit once the country has voted to leave in 2016. The commitment to Brexit and unlocking its supposed benefits is now a core pillar of her platform. platform, an attitude that could lead to a heated and expensive legal battle with the European Union and the Republic of Ireland over the complex of Northern Ireland Protocol. While Truss said during the Brexit referendum campaign that Britain shouldn't spend years in massive divorce from Europe, she may be about to preside over exactly this. Born in Norfolk in 1975, Mary Elizabeth Truss is the daughter of John Kenneth, a math professor at the University of Leeds, and Priscilla Truss, a nurse. In the biography section of her website, she described her parents as left wing. When she was 4, the family relocated to Paisley, a town near Glasgow in Scotland. They moved again in 1985 to the northern English city of Leeds in West Yorkshire. Truss frequently refers to herself as a Yorkshire woman. Yorkshire woman, a falsy attempt to contract her upbringing with the largely affluent Southern English background of many conservative members and activists. Throughout her leadership campaign, Truss said her vision of conservatism was inspired by seeing fellow students at the local public high school struggling in an overly bureaucratic failing system. Many of the children I was at school with were let down by low expectations, poor education standards, and a lack of opportunity, she said at her leadership launch July 14. Former student and staff at Raleigh and also local politicians dispute Truss' portrayal, accusing her of unfairly meddling the school for political gain. It is located in one of the most affluent areas of Leeds, and it certainly could never be described fairly as a sink school, he said via email, referring to British terminology for a failing and underachieving school. Her contentions about her deprived background as the daughter of the university professor are a load of nonsense, Crithope said. After graduating from Oxford in 1969, she abandoned the Liberal Democrats and joined the Conservative Party, the dismay of her left-leaning father. He was quite horrified, she told the Times newspaper in 2012. After college, Truss worked as a graduate trainee accountant for the energy giant Shell and later the telecommunications company Cable and Wireless. In 2000, she married fellow accountant Hugh O'Leary, and they have 2 daughters. After a youth of on the center-left university prime Truss for conservation to the right. I met Tories and I realized that they didn't have 2 heads and were actually good people, she told the Daily Mail in 2019. Truss stood as a Tory candidate in the election of 2001 and 2005, losing both times. It would take another 5 years before she was finally elected as the MP for South West Norfolk. Truss has served in various cabinet positions since 2012 under the governments of David Cameron, Theresa May, and Johnson. It was under Johnson that she was promoted to foreign minister, one of the most powerful positions in government. Truss was leading the transitions to a post-Brexit trading rim and forging new diplomatic ties. The Conservative Party may have ditched Johnson, but his brand of populism looks set to stay under the new prime minister. She stayed loyal to Johnson. She told the membership that they want to hear on the economy and taxations rather than any hard truths. She is a fierce Brexiteer and an anti-woke warrior, Bell said. Truss may be compared to Thatcher, but her critics believe she has much more in common with her predecessor. I regret that a Liz Truss premiership would be a continuation of the Boris Johnson style. Kipper said, a Truss government would be even more divisive divisive and include individuals who are notable only for their extreme or eccentric view, he said. Steve Bannon expected to face state indictment in New York. The Manhattan DA office had opened an investigation into Bannon in connection with his role in a charity that was supposed to use private funds to build the U.S.-Mexico border wall. Almost 2 years after he received a pardon from President Donald Trump in a federal fraud case, Steve Bannon is expected to face state indictment in New York. In a segment first shared with NBC News on Tuesday night, Bannon said New York has now decided to pursue phony charges against me 60 days before the midterm election. This is nothing more than a Persian political weaponization of the criminal justice system, added Bannon, who once was the chief White House strategist in the Trump administration. The statement came after the Washington Post, citing people familiar with the situation, reported that Bannon planned to surrender Thursday. NBC News has asked the Manhattan District Attorney Office for comment. The district attorney office last year opened an investigation into Bannon in connection with his role in a charity that was supposed to use private funds to build the U.S.-Mexico border wall, NBC News reported in February 2021. The previous year, Bannon was indicted with 3 other people on charges of taking money donated to help build a wall along the southern border. Federal prosecutors alleged that Bannon's We Build the Wall campaign, which raised more than $25 million, defrauded hundreds of thousands of donors who contributed to an effort to build a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border, one of Trump's key campaign promises. Trump pardoned Bannon in January 2021, but presidential pardons apply only to federal charges, meaning New York is not prohibited from pursuing similar charges. I am proud to be a leading voice on protecting our borders, and building a wall to keep our country safe from drugs and violent criminals, Bannon said in Tuesday night's statement. They are coming after all of us, not only President Trump and myself. I am never going to stop fighting. In fact, I have not yet begun to fight. They will have to kill me first. Separately, Bannon was convicted of contempt of Congress after he refused to answer questions from the House January 6 committee. A jury found him guilty on 2 counts of contempt of Congress in July. A woman jumped from a moving car after being kidnapped by a man who asked for water, authorities say. Jeremy Alaska, 31, is accused of holding the woman at knife point in Washington state. Authorities in Washington state identified a suspect Tuesday who they say carjacked a woman and held her at knife point until she escaped by jumping from a moving car. The woman had given water to Jeremy Alaska, 31, after he approached her vehicle asking for some in an incident that began in Vancouver, Washington. Early Saturday, the Clark County Sheriff's Office said in a news release. Alaska is expected to be charged with kidnapping, robbery, and attempted eluding after he fled from officers, the sheriff's office said. The woman, who has not been identified, told authorities after she gave Alaska water, she allowed him into her car. Alaska produced a knife and used the threat of violence to take control of the car, the release alleged, adding that he drove roughly 15 miles to the city of Camas. Alaska slowed down on a dirt road, authorities said, and the woman jumped from the car and started banging on the doors of the nearby homes. A resident, James Wood, told NBC affiliate KGW of Portland, Oregon, that he and his family awoke around 4:30 a.m. to the sound of a woman pounding on the back door of his home and moving the doorknob. She was desperate to get in, which I can understand. Wood told the station. She told me that someone tried to kill her and someone stole her car. Was 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 told the station that he called 911 after the deputies searched the area and found the car. The driver fled, according to the release. 11 minutes 11 minutes later, and about 8 miles away, authorities from the sheriff's office and the Vancouver Police Department were able to pin the car. And the release says Alexa was taken into custody after he tried to flee the vehicle. The release says he refused to provide his name and was identified through other names. The sheriff's office says it wasn't immediately clear whether he has a lawyer to speak on his behalf. Police say that they have found.
Turning now to breaking news in the investigation of that missing Memphis jogger and mother of two. Police confirmed today the body of 34-year-old Eliza Fletcher has.
Police say that they have found the remains of missing jogger Eliza Fletcher. Memphis authorities have confirmed a body found during the search for Eliza Fletcher was identified as the 34-year-old woman who was abducted during a run Friday morning. NBC News just Chris reports on the news details police have released and the latest charges against the suspect charged with kidnapping Fletcher. And that is the end for today. Hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya. Oh, and by the way, all the tips I gave you last time, I hope it worked, because it worked for me, and I think that it worked for most people with average memory. I myself have average memory, and I couldn't learn anything besides English, because I hate everything. I hate every subject besides English. The only thing that I find English is interesting because it was another language, and I hate math. I hate math. I especially hate math, and I don't want to, calculate anything, and I not good at calculating things. So that's why I hate math. And about English is that when I was small, when I was about 9 years old, I watched Disney Channel a lot, and that is when I know I like English, because Disney Channel is all about English. If you don't understand English, so yeah, I watch it, and although I don't understand a word it was saying about what is the movie about and what it's called, I just remember the melody. Phineas the Verb, right? I just remember that the song in the intro song, right from the start. I remember the melody, the way they pronounce, but I don't know for sure how they pronounce it. So I just remember the melody and I sing along. So that is when I remember all the stuff and all the words that I accidentally remember by remembering the melody. So when I said that music can help you a lot, I mean it. So if you guys try it, and if you have any, positive result, comment below, and follow for more if you like my tips and you find it effective. So yeah, thank you and goodbye. Oh, one more thing. I also like English, and I only good at speaking, and I'm not good at grammar. Yeah, I also not good at grammar. I only good at speaking because I can, mumbling to the sound, and um, like for example, they sing like what's going on, so I will like mama mama. I remember the sound. I don't remember what they're saying, and I don't know what they're saying, but I remember the sound. So when I grow up, it means when I was in secondary school or something like that, I learned it and I know, oh, so that's what it is, that what it was about, and yeah, that's how I learned it. And I only good at speaking because I remember the basic words, the basic step that they say. For example, hello, how are you? How are you today? You're good? Are you good? How are you today? I'm good. Thank you for asking. Like just basic stuff, and I get better and better through movies. Yeah. So yeah, that's all I got. I don't know if I could help you with that, but I think for myself, I'm getting better, and you have to learn. You you cannot learn English without learning it. Uh, you know, without actually learning it. So you have to put time and effort into learning stuff, and eventually it will come out great. It will get you a positive result and a a very good result that you want. So don't give up and don't lose trust in yourself, especially when you find it hard. Just took a break. Just take a break and get some air, go outside, have fun with your friends for a day if you're feeling stressed about studying stuff. And after that, you get it together and yeah, just study, dude. That's it. Farmers pay for their livestock emissions in the bid to combat climate change. This is an important step forward in New Zealand transitions to a low emissions future and delivers on our promise to price agricultural emissions from 2025. Uh, Arden said. New Zealand is a major livestock and meat exporter, and has around 10 million cattle and 26 million sheep. Agriculture accounts for half of the country's total emissions, including 91% of its biogenic emissions of methane, a potent greenhouse gas with more than 80 times the global warming power of carbon dioxide in the short term. The industry had previously been omitted from the country's emission trading scheme, a government regulatory body which set limits on emissions by sector. No other country in the world has yet developed a system for pricing and reducing agricultural emissions, so our farmers are set to benefit from being first movers. But farms group are unconvinced and have raised concern about high costs this will impose on the industry. Andrew Morrison, chairman of farm lobby group Beef Plus Lamb New Zealand, said in an email to farmers on Tuesday, "We will not accept a system that disproportionately puts our farmers and communities at risk." Andrew Hoggard, president of the Rural Advocacy Agency's Federated Farmers, said in a statement that the government's plan will rip the guts out of small-town New Zealand. "We didn't sign up for this. This is gut-wrenching to think we now have this proposal from government which rips the heart out of the work we did, out of the families who farmed this land," he said. "Our plan was to keep farmers farming. Now they be selling up so fast you won't even hear the dogs barking on the back of the ute as they drive off." However, the proposal hopes to incent incentivize farmers to reduce emissions without imposing damaging costs. In a statement, the government said the revenue raised will be recycled back into the agricultural sector through new technology, research, and incentive payments to farmers. See, China has sought to reshape a world order that it sees as dominated by the United States. Beijing has leveraged its economic strength to expand global influence while modernizing its military and using competitive diplomats and an overseas state media apparatus to defend itself and vilify the West. Beijing human rights record, assertive foreign policy handling of COVID-19 and close tie with Moscow are among factors that have damaged perception of China in the West and its relationship with government there. American perceptions of China have declined. Military expansion. Xi launched an extensive project to reform and modernize the People Liberation Army and transform China Navy into the world's largest by fleet size, with its first overseas military base opening in Djibouti in 2017. China has built the world's largest navy. According to the comparative estimate by the U.S. Office by the Naval Intelligence in 2020, China was on track to have 63 more battle force ships than the U.S. Pressures on Taiwan. Xi has also stressed a national goal of reunifying with Taiwan by force if necessary. China's military has ramped up on its intimidation of the self-governing democracy, which has never been ruled by the Communist Party, at times sending dozens of warplanes a day close to the island. Turning China into a moderately prosperous society has been a cornerstone of Xi's decade in power. Early on, he trained his sights on eliminating absolute poverty in rural areas. During these early years, private companies thrived mostly unimpeded and a consumer tech revolution bloomed, enhancing daily conveniences for a growing middle class as China's transitioned from an industrial hub to a services and high-tech economy. In more recent years, Xi has tightened regulations to tamp down on debt, property speculation, and financial risk, while also upping Communist Party control within the economy. His common prosperity vision to narrow the wealth gap and broad campaigns to rein in powerful companies have appeared to signal the end of an era of freewheeling private enterprise. Some of these moves, along with the zero COVID policy, have contributed to higher unemployment and dragged down China's already slowing growth. Rural residents no longer living below China's standard of absolute poverty since 2012. Internet users in China as of June 2022 up from 564 million in 2012 kilometers 32,000 kilometers about 20,000 miles added to China high-speed rail networks in late 2012. 3 trillion US dollar estimated loss in market value for Chinese companies worldwide at the height of China's 2021 crackdown on private enterprise. Serious rights violations in Xinjiang. China has long stifled the twin perceived threats to Chinese nationalism of religious and ethnic identity. Undersea, nowhere have those policies have been more sweeping in a short period than the far western region of Xinjiang, where he pledged to crack down on terrorism and separatism following ethnic